Okay. Unfortunate. Okay, so playing Spirit, the most important thing 100% is the audio. You want to be making sure you can listen for people at all times. This map is really difficult for any killer, really, because it's just so damn massive. And I'm gonna phase here and try and get back on this girl who's working on the generator. Damn, I thought I heard her. Never mind. Oops. And I fucked up getting out of the killer shack as well. I see scratch marks really late on this tree. That girl's gonna be on the chest. I think I'm in heartbeat range here. While you're in heartbeat range. Oh yeah, I can pull her. So when you're in heartbeat range as a Spirit, they can't actually hear you when you're phasing. And she's gonna feed me free hits, and I'll take it because, like I said, audio's really not good, or really important for the Spirit. So if you can listen for injured survivors, that makes it even easier for you. Now I see that she's healing over here. And like I said, when you're in your when the survivor's in your heartbeat range, they can't actually hear you when you're teleporting. So it just gives you that extra little advantage because you know that they're not coming. She's gonna go straight for the unhook probably, which means I can probably get a down on her right away. And if they want to keep trading like this, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I know this girl I'm picking up right now has a key, or has fuck me. I can't remember what it's called. Flashlight, sorry. Right here, I honestly want to make distance from the hook, because my perk on the left, Devour Hope, basically I start getting buffed as people get unhooked from me further away. This team has no idea where I am whatsoever, and that's the strength of Spirit. People don't know where exactly you're gonna be. I shouldn't pick her up, she probably is decisive. Yeah, I'm not gonna get blinded while I'm stunned here. She is decisive too, I'm not gonna eat it. I shouldn't have picked up that Nia. She's gonna think I'm facing her, but I heard someone starting to work on a generator down here, so I just want to get pressure on her as well. And like I said, I'm actually gonna wait down here. Never mind, she realized what I was gonna do. They're all around me right now. I saw her scratch marks running out. Now keep in mind, you can see scratch marks of Sphere, but you can't see blood. I see that the Nia's self-carrying up there, so I'm perfectly fine with that. She fucking lagged so hard, Jesus. She probably is balanced landing, so I'm not actually going to chase her. Instead, I'm going to go in my phase, and I'm going to listen for this Fang. Now, Spirit's kind of like the Wraith, where when she comes out of her Wraith, out of her teleport, she actually gets a little bit of extra speed for a longer lunge. Now I'm gonna fake chasing her and come back over here, because I know, they took my Devour Hope out. That sucks for me. But that's whatever, I'm in a really good spot. Alright. So yeah, the main thing you want to be listening for, Spirit, is when people are injured. You want to get somebody injured, then that's when you can chase them. If they have Iron Will, obviously it becomes harder to figure out where they are, because they'll just be quiet while they're down. But at the same time, you can still listen for stuff like footsteps. You can look for small indicators, like for example, when I downed the Fang that I have on the hook right now, around here, I saw the grass moving next to the pallet, and it let me know that she was running through the pallet at the moment, and it let me know when I should be going for the lunge. Now, that other girl was healing herself earlier, and now she's probably moved closer to get the unhook. They've been playing super aggressive, not worrying about generators at all, so that's a mistake on their part. Right there, I just did a little mind game. I let her know which way I was coming, then I turned back around like I was gonna fake back to try and cut her off, and instead of going back to cut her off, I just straight up chased her up main. She killed herself on hook, which is an asshole thing to do, especially against a fucking Spirit, but Oh well, nothing much you can do about that. So right there, when you have any distance at all, really, Spirit's really strong in that she's super maneuverable around the map. And just from any situation, if they don't have Iron Will and they're injured, you'll basically be able to get a free down on them, assuming they don't play really effectively, of course. And here's another thing Spirit can do. Spirit can stand still while she's, because when she's phasing, her animation actually looks like she's standing still, and it can bait people into doing something they might not be wanting to do. Now I know this other girl was walking over to here. I might be able to pull her off. There we go. I saw her off in a distance when I started my phase, so I just came back over here to punish the unhook. Now that other girl's probably gonna go try and get it while I'm hooking her, which would be the right play for her to do. But yeah, you want to be using your sound cues a lot to help you out. You want to be listening for where people are running. You want to be worrying about Iron Will. Somebody's in a locker right now, and that's why I couldn't see them with barbecue. But again, I'm gonna get into heartbeat range over here. I see where she's healing. If you have nurses calling and you're in heartbeat range of Spirit, or if you have nurses calling rather, and you can see them healing, that means you're in heartbeat range for her. So that's a great way to use nurses calling for sure. Now this thing got greedy and tried to go for an extra loop. I might be able to down her right here. Nope, that slog's just a little bit too wide. But what I can do is go into my phase and listen for her. I fucking missed the swing. That's 100% on me though, but I'll get down here. But just like you see, at loops like this, if you know that people are going to stay at them, you can use your ability to go in and look around and chase them with your ability. That way they can't see what direction you're trying to go. That Neil loves going up to that high ground, which means she probably has balanced landing, because she just goes up there every time to heal. She thinks it's a safe position to be in, but it really isn't that safe. It's Spirit at least. She started working on the generator below me. I think, maybe. Maybe not. The audio is kind of buggy for generators sometimes, so you have to worry about that. So yeah, the general idea of Spirit is you want to try and, especially to down people when they're injured, that's when you want to be chasing them the most. Alright, she went for the unhook, but at this point it's basically game over, so I'm just going to go for 2 points over here. But yeah, you want to be making sure to make the game as easy for yourself as possible. Obviously you can't see where the survivors are when you're phasing, but your phase is also your best ability. Usually you don't want to use it for movement, even though it does give you extra speed. Now you'll notice I did get behind the wall temporarily over here before phasing, so that it'd be harder for them to tell whether or not I was phasing. I see that girl back at the killer shack. She really loves hugging that area, so the more she's over there, the better it is for me. Now I'm gonna stand still here and see what this Nia decides to do. Alright, she just kept going, which is a good play. Oh. I actually have no idea where she went. I couldn't hear her. She went in the locker, which was unfortunate timing. Now I know that girl's still behind me because I didn't see any scratch marks leaving the killer shack. Now I'm gonna stand still here again and see if I can mind game her. If she comes towards the pallet, nope, she's just walking away, which is really good. If you ever see a Spirit standing still, when you walk away, it'll make it harder for her to track you because she can't just follow your scratch marks. But at the same time, you have to remember that whenever you do, if you don't have Iron Will, you'll be really loud anyway. So now that I know that she likes just walking away whenever I stand still, I'm just gonna do this really quickly and listen for her. I heard it in the grass to my left, so I just went for a wild swing. Yeah, the big part of Spirit too is learning how survivors play. If you're doing, you should try doing something several times and see how they react to it, and that way you start conditioning them to think like, hey, the killer keeps doing this, that'll make it easier for me to predict what they're gonna do. You start getting in their head. They think that they figured you out when in fact you figured them out. So I knew that she probably was just gonna walk around instead of actually going for more loops on that pallet. So I just went and tried to figure out what direction she was walking in. I listened for the grass, I listened for the moaning, and obviously the audio in this game isn't perfect, so you can't hear moaning 100% of the time. But it's smaller stuff like grass and footsteps that you have to be listening out for on Spirit. Spirit really is the killer that relies on audio like the most out of any other killer single-handedly. Now I know this girl was back here, but she had a lot of time to move, and considering there's no generator back here and I've knocked out a few pallets, I wouldn't be surprised if she left this area. Right now I'm just looking for the hatch, and really when it comes to the hatch, it's literally just whoever finds the hatch first wins. There's no real outplay to it. There's some maps where it's more likely to spawn in one area, but it isn't necessarily confirmed to spawn, and you can check the same area over and over again. Now I saw her hiding behind the generator, so I'm gonna phase over and see if I can get a smack on her easily. I think she's still hiding back here somewhere. I just don't know where. This girl's played very stealthy the whole time, so I know that she's probably going to be going for stealth plays. I can see she didn't turn around to look at me, so I'm just going to phase right after her right away. She tried to double back on me, and that's something survivors will do a lot. They'll notice that you're phasing, and then they'll turn around and try and... I'm actually going to get rid of the hatch, because I don't... she played alright, it's whatever. I usually don't give hatch to stealthy survivors, but... if I don't hear her by the time I get to that hook, though, I am gonna hook her. I don't hear her. But yeah, survivors end up doing shit in patterns, so you can just use that to your advantage. I know that she doesn't like looking around. And she's gonna drop this bullet immediately if I stand still. No, she isn't really turning around that much, so standing still doesn't actually help me at all. I stood still there to try and figure out what direction she was gonna go in to make her think that maybe I was phasing. It didn't really benefit me in any way, but it did give me information to where she was. Now there's no pallet here, so I'm just gonna go for a simple chase. That should have hit, but unfortunately that it didn't. And go back to the same thing. If she's uninjured, or if she is injured, it's easier to track her. Now, I have no idea where the hatch is, because we went practically around the entire map and didn't find it, so I'm just going to hook her right away. But yeah, you want to be looking for patterns, you want to be listening for a lot of stuff as a sphere. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to what survivor is doing what, and that's why a lot of stronger survivor teams will all come with the same skin, because they want to try and trick people out to make it so that it's harder for them to understand what's happening, who's doing this, who's doing that. Oh, the hatch was over here the whole time. Right next to where I hooked that Nia before, but yeah, Spirit's definitely one of the stronger killers in the game, because she has that mobility, she has that potential to down people really quickly right away, and because of that, it puts her in a really nice spot to go in and just try and get several people injured. That's why I like running Nurses Calling with her, because like I said before, if you see somebody with Nurses Calling, that means that you're within heartbeat range, so they can't hear you when you're phasing, at least unless they run out of your heartbeat range. And if they can't hear you when you're phasing, that's when you can sneak up on them. It's similar to Wraith and Ghostface and even Piggy, where if they don't know where you are, then that puts you in the driver's seat. That makes it so that you're at the advantage. Like we saw earlier on the map when I went to the structure in the middle, in my phase, and the Nia was running looking a completely different direction from where I was. If the survivors don't know where you are, then that means that they'll end up making more mistakes, which will end up benefiting you, of course. Along with Nurses, I love running Sloppy. Sloppy's a great perk to combo with Nurses, because it'll take longer for them to excuse me. It'll take longer for them to heal themselves, or heal each other even, but it is mostly for the survivors who run self-care. Like this perk right here, self-care, is what lets them heal themselves. They heal themselves extremely slow though, as opposed to their normal 16-second heal, it turns into 24 seconds. And yet Sloppy Butcher on top of that, I think it turns to about 30 seconds. So that's half a minute that they're spending healing themselves if they don't have a medkit. And if they're spending all the time healing themselves, they're not running you around, they're not doing generators, they're not helping other survivors, so it's just wasting more and more time, and at the end of the day, that's what killers need to be doing, wasting time as much as possible. Right now, I run Devour Hope on Spirit. This is a Hex Totem, so those little skulls that are around the map, this is one of the ones that gets lit up. And essentially what Devour Hope does is it gives you tokens if somebody gets unhooked 24 meters away from where you are. And at 2 tokens, so if 2 people have been hooked when you're 24 meters away from the hook, if 2 people have been unhooked rather, if you're 24 meters away from the hook, Devour Hope will make you move a little bit faster 10 seconds after you hook somebody. Then at 3 tokens, you'll be able to one-shot people, so if they're full health, you'll be able to insta-down them right away, so it'll make chases super quick because you only have to hit them once. And then if you can get it all the way up to 5 tokens, whenever you down somebody, you can just mori them right on the ground, and that'll be a really easy way to take them out of the game quickly. But that is, of course, all as long as the Devour Hope is still standing, as long as they haven't broken the totem. Now, Barbecue Chili, as I've said in several of my other videos, is a great perk. This thing lets you see where survivors are around the map a lot. And even if you see nobody on Barbecue Chili, like we saw a couple times during that game, that's still information that's beneficial to you as a killer, because you know that, hey, either they're hiding in lockers doing, like, wasting more time, or the majority of them are pretty close to where I just hooked this person, so you can keep an eye out for that, you know? Now, for the add-ons I was running, I usually don't really run too much add-ons that are better than yellow. For this game, I had the increasing in recovery speed for my power, so my power just comes back faster, and of course, the more you can be in your power, the more it benefits you during a chase, because you want to be using your power mostly during chases, not for mobility, because you want to be able to see where people are when you're moving from place to place on the map. And the second add-on was just for the duration for my power, so if I did need to go on a long phase, this just helps me out there, kind of like when I was chasing that Nia earlier on in the game.